everyone, and welcome to this week's tutorial. Today we are going to be working with a collection called Carta by the Sea. So I have the coordinating cardstock, the 12x12 collection kit, and then the frames and tags die cut package. So we're going to need 4 of our pieces of cardstock. We have 6 here, so we have 2 that we're not going to use, and I'm not going to pick that until after I pick my pattern paper. And then we have our 12x12 collection kit that has a 12x12 sticker sheet along with 12 patterned papers. So out of these 12 patterned papers, I think there is 3 sheets of like journaling cards. So there's like one 3x4 journaling card, one that's sort of mixed like this one here, and then one that has like borders, like the strips. So I'm gonna put those aside, and we're gonna use those a little bit later on when we're assembling our pages. And someone had asked me at one time to kind of explain the thought process behind which cutting guide I use with the collection and why I use it. So this cutting guide, I decided to go with a double layout, and I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to do single page layouts or double page layouts with my pages, but I decided to do double page layouts anyways because I didn't have that many embellishments, and I find that I need less embellishments to decorate double pages versus single page layouts. So what motivated me this week to use a double layout was my lack of embellishments and coordinating accessories that I didn't buy with this collection. So that was definitely a concern of mine, so that's what motivated me to do a double layout this week. And so here I went ahead and used that font paper up in the top corner, and that's gonna be my first accent paper. We need 3 accent papers and 4 background pages. These are my second set of background pages because they're both the same color tone. And I had initially picked those lighthouses with the wood grain as my first set of background pages, but then I changed my mind. And this plaid-based paper, I did love that as well. I'm gonna be using that as an accent paper. And here, as you can see, I'm changing my mind about my background pages. I decided that I wanted these 2 as my background instead, and I wanted this wood grain paper as my 3rd accent, just because it brought a different color to my accent papers instead of being very white based. I didn't think that they would stand out well with each other, so I went ahead and did that for my paper selections this week. So normally in my cutting guide for a double page layout, I actually, instead of trimming it 11.5 by 11.5, I usually trim it to 11.75 by 11.5. That way I have my background papers touching the inside edge of my double layouts. But I didn't do that in the cutting guide this time. This time I did go with a 11.5 inch by 11.5 inch background, and I left the full 0.25 inch border around my entire layouts, because at the beginning I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to keep these as a double layout or modify them to make single page layouts with my cutting guide that was designed for double pages. So as you can see, I did end up keeping them as double pages instead of converting them to like a single page layout. But I still don't mind having the full border around the papers. I don't think you really see it and notice it enough, and I'm not upset that I decided to do that during the cutting guide. Okay, so here, as you can see on this layout, I didn't put a 3x4 photo mat at that bottom left corner of this layout. I actually left it blank because I wanted to put a journaling card there. And I really liked the one that had this quote on it, and it was sort of like a white-based background, so it stood out nicely against the blue cardstock. And then what I did is there was a 4x6 journaling card that had a bigger version of like this sign on it. So I cut it with scissors, and I want to use it as like I would a die cut and use it on our layouts. There is one of those signs on the sticker sheet, but it's a lot smaller. Okay, so what I did here is I wanted to use this red border strip that says swim in the sea, drink the wild air. And I sort of wanted to use some red accents on this page just to because I knew the red color would stand out on everything, but there's still that little bit of red coloring in that plaid pattern paper in the background. So I cut that one little strip and it says live in the sunshine, swim in the sea, and then I'm gonna kind of create a cluster on the left side of this 4x6 photo down here. So I decided to use the lighthouses and the ship wheel and a few other accents just right there. And in this layout, what I did is I ended up just sort of making a couple different cluster areas, but I really focused everything more to the bottom half of this double layout, and I really didn't put too much along the top. And like I said earlier, I kind of decided to go with a double layout, like a cutting guide with the double layouts, because I didn't think I had as many embellishment options, just because of what I bought to go with this collection. And as you'll see, I only kind of make like 2 main cluster areas and then just like a few odd accents otherwise. And I really think on a single page layout, you can't really get away with making 1 cluster area. I think you need it, the page doesn't look balanced that way. And you kind of need to have more than 1 cluster area when you're looking at a single 12 by 12 page. But I feel like when you combine the 2 pages, you can kind of get away with it a little bit more, and you don't need as many embellishments to make your page look finished. So that crab shack piece at the bottom of that 4x6 photo area on the left side, that crab shack little rectangle actually came from the 12 by 12 border strip sheet. And I really love how that turned out at the bottom of that 4x6 photo area. And then I'm going to kind of just glue down these layers, and I'm actually going to pop up this one that says Crab Shack on it, and then I'm going to use that as sort of like my anchor and have some embellishments that come off of that piece. So I'm going to use these oars for the boat, and then also I want to get some pops of red in there as well, so I might use some coral and some crabs as well that are from the sticker sheet. Okay, and then on the right side of the page, I really want to use that sign. It's really big and fills that area nicely. I just got to put some layers in front of it and behind it to make it look anchored to the page with something else. And it's really easy when you have especially a lot of little embellishments to work with to start making it look really messy. So I like kind of where I finish things off there on the left hand side where the crab shack is. So it's really easy when you start putting too many things together to make it look like it's, just a little bit too much. But I really like how everything turned out. I think the colors in this collection are very, very pretty, and they work really nicely together, and they incorporate some of that wood grain, which I feel like it ties everything in together really nicely. And I think this was a really, really fun collection to work with. I wasn't too sure about it at the beginning when I had ordered it, because it seemed like, I don't know, the whales kind of threw me off a little bit. I wasn't sure how I would use that. I didn't want this to look like a kid layout too much or anything like that, and I didn't really feel like the whales would incorporate into the theming of my pages all that well, but I really like how it turned out anyways, and I didn't need to use the whales to make these pages work. And so if you're concerned about the whales, know that there's many other things you can work with in the theming of this kit to make it work. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you with our next how-to video in a few weeks. Have a great weekend, everyone.